After the first phase where we were working in 3 cities, Teach for India launched in Hyderabad and Chennai. This was essentially to say if the hypothesis works in these cities, does it work in different contexts as well? And we went from the 3 biggest cities to the other cities of India. In 2013 is when I joined the fellowship program, and this first student vision scale was set up. By that time, we'd had enough evidence to say if people are doing the fellowship, then they are able to do significantly better than their peers as fellows. And we had significant outcomes in terms of students from our context versus students from other similar contexts who did not have a Teach for India intervention. Our students were doing significantly better in both math and English. The student vision scale is probably my favorite document that Teach for India has ever created. I think it, as a fellow in their second year of the fellowship, this gave me an idea of if excellence is something that we want, then this is what it can look like. And this is, I think, my and the organization's first version of what an excellent education can look like. It's very clear, it's super comprehensive, and it was, as a fellow, I felt like, oh, this is what I need to do. This is how I know my students are doing, and this is the impact that they can have. After we started implementing this in class, it started being replicated at different places. And I think one of the main proof points of the student vision scale being successful was the Maya musical. This is the first big musical that Teach for India had done, and I attended it as a fellow. And I was honestly blown away by how kids were. I saw 4th graders, 5th graders be incredibly confident on stage. I saw them do things that I felt like in my education when I was in school I didn't receive. And if this is what education can do, if this is what giving opportunities and support to students can do, then we should do it with as many people as possible. And so I think this is when my belief in can an excellent education transform lives of children became absolutely solid. After that, I joined the Ahmedabad team as a program manager, and I think one of the big things that I've observed, that I got to observe in my first year, was a forum theatre done by a fellow called Revant in Brighton School in Ahmedabad. And to give you a little bit of context of a forum theatre, it's basically a play that children do where at any point of time, audience members could pause and interrupt the play and replace any one of the, as many as the members of the play as possible. The entire play was in English. These were 3rd grade students, 3rd standard students at that point of time, who'd never ever attended a proper English class, doing a play fully in English with this huge intervention that anyone could do. We had around 250 to 300 people in Ahmedabad who attended this play, and multiple times they interrupted and joined the play and replaced characters, and it was flawless, which was a huge evidence to say excellent education can let children do things that people think is impossible at different points of times. So that was the play, that was the forum theatre that I saw. The kids who participated in this in their 2nd and 3rd grade grew up and said, okay, Teach for India is working for us, it's great for me, but what about students who are not in Teach for India classrooms? And they decided that after school hours, they'd set up their own community centers in homes of their friends and teach children younger than them. And these are children in 4th and 5th grade, right? So they are deciding that we get a certain privilege, we get to study in a great classroom with a great teacher, but other kids in our community don't get it. And so they set up community centers, and their aim at the start was, we'll set up 100 community centers to teach these children just like we are being taught. Some of the students that were a part of this, they participated in a Design for Change competition. They won that competition in the state of Gujarat that year, and over a period of time they did so well that they were invited to Rome to attend a Design for Change conference, International Design for Change conference, where the chief guest was the Pope. So these are kids who live in Brighton in Ahmedabad, which is basically right next to the garbage dump, the biggest garbage dump of the city. 100 meters away is their school, and now they're going to Rome. And I think what all of this did for me was essentially tell me that it went in my head from this is impossible to do to, oh wow, it is absolutely possible, and we can do this with so many kids over the course of the years. That that was basically my first year in the staff role, and 2014 is when Teach for India Ahmedabad started. 2013 is when the city directors at that time went to a retreat in Ahmedabad and did something called a Padyatra. 2013, my first year of the fellowship is when I was a Bombay fellow and I went to Ahmedabad for this and I did a similar Padyatra at that time. Explored the city. I'd been a resident of Ahmedabad all my life, but I think seeing the city from a very, very different lens during that Padyatra made me realize what the soul of the city feels like. And lo and behold, in 2014, Teach for India Ahmedabad had its first ever cohort. I had a chance to assist the team at that time to look for schools, to go to areas where we had high need children, underserved communities, and find the first 10 schools in which Teach for India Ahmedabad started. And 2015 is when I finished my fellowship and joined the Ahmedabad team as a program manager. One fun fact, a lot of posters are here and you can see what they were, and we were very inspired, and one day in the evening we said, okay, if I made a poster for Teach for India, what would it have? And I still remember the idea that we had to say, if you work in Teach for India, you look forward to both Saturdays and Mondays, because Saturdays is when you're so tired you want to sleep, but Mondays are the days when you get to see your kids again, and so you look forward to both Saturdays and Mondays, and that's the kind of job you would want. Towards the end of this phase, we had Bangalore added as the newest city at that point of time, which is the 7th city of Teach for India, and to a very large extent, we had more alumni in the city in the first year than in any other city, because a lot of our alumni had moved to Bangalore, and so that gave the city a big boost in terms of setting up operations at that time. From phase 1 to phase 2, we'd gone from, we have a few ideas, let's test them out, to phase 2 where we said, okay, these ideas work. Do they work in all contexts? Do they work when we increase in scale? Do they work when we add more things? Are there learnings that we could gather from our experience till now and consolidate them, codify those? The student vision scale, the rise of student leadership as a concept was all part of phase 2. And the last thing that I think was a significant thing that we did in phase 2 was we started the Firki program. The Firki program was an online teacher training space, teacher training website at that point of time. And when we started it, I remember the first recorded class for that was for my co-fellow, Shavik. So the Firki team had come to our school, they had recorded this class, and that became the first recorded class for Firki at that point of time, and it's just grown leaps and bounds from there.